welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Bachelor Season 26, Episode 2. Now, Chris, we have fired a few missiles across to this franchise for it being boring, and some of the seasons we've watched, it has been a real slog. What do you reckon to this this second episode here?
Well, Dave, it has the same fake DNA, but I've got to say, the women bring it so much more. The fact that we've just finished, I know Michelle's season officially finished at around about the middle of December or the end of December, but we were just slightly behind because of Christmas and that. So it feels like we've gone straight in from one series to another. But the men are so fucking fake. I mean, these fake girls on here, don't get me wrong, but I love the way that they're like, no, Clayton is my man. And they just absolutely want to fucking pull the carpet from each other. I love it. I honestly think The Bachelor is a better show because it shows how fake all them guys are on Michelle's series. You know, the tiptoeing round Dave, not pissing Michelle off, the tiptoeing round, making sure they don't come across because of the image at the end of it. This has started off this series. I know we had like the Mean Girls and that on Matt's series and that, but this has started off like the original Love Islands, where it was like people don't care about what happens at the end. They care about the present. And I will say though, Dave, because I know we had two baddies in this episode, I think we're going to disagree on it because I've got some theories on our two baddies, but brilliant to watch. And for once, that 2-hour slog watching it wasn't a 2-hour slog. It was great TV. I really, really enjoyed it. And that is the first time I've said that in a long time with the Bachelor franchises.
I'm with you. I genuinely enjoyed this episode. And I thought there were signs last week. It was like, hang about. They might be setting him up a bit here. Now, I think this episode was less about what Clayton did. He was still as drippy as like any of the other season leads we've seen. But I agree, it's the women. And I don't know if fake is the right word, because I think all this lot are fake as well. But there is just something watery about the blokes and how they approach it, whereas the girls are just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, let's get into the first day. It was a group date, wasn't it? Cassidy was the one who was just like, fuck this kid's party shit. I'm here to date Clayton. You lot can do what you want. And I'm just going to go over and I'm just going to start chatting with Clayton and basically fucking lay it on him straight off the bat. And I was like, right, this is fucking going to be interesting, isn't it?
And you're right, because they go to Hilary Duff's house, who I didn't even know who she was, and I realised she was in like quite a famous TV show years ago. So I've looked at her bio on Wiki. She is, she's got a proper long story career. They talk to her. She ain't got a fucking clue who Clayton is. Clayton's like, oh, this is my great friend. No, she's not. You've just met her 10 minutes before filming. It's at the party. I question whether it's her house. The kids are then told, let's run past everybody, because they run past all the contestants as Clayton and Hilary are chatting about what they're going to do. You're right. They assign jobs to everyone. Cassidy from nowhere. Let's be honest, Dave. Great TV. The old, let's create a baddie for the episode. So Cassidy was the baddie. All of a sudden, she was like the girl in the last episode who decided from nowhere that she didn't like Clayton. She had no connection. I don't actually like him. He binned her off. Now, I must admit, when Cassidy was being so cocksure of herself, I wrote down in my notes, she's definitely going, because I thought she's an actress, a plant, but it might not be her who's the actual actress. And I just felt that she'd been directed to be so outrageous, because she sat there like, I'm not doing it. I don't even like kids. Why are we interested in the kids? And I'm thinking, well, she's what I respect her for, Dave, and I will give her this, is the other girls are fucking don't care about the kids either. But because it's The Bachelor and like, Clayton saying, I want a family. They've got to say they want a family. That's the end goal. I want a bride. I want this, 2.4 children. They have to say it. It's part of The Bachelor. It's the American dream, all that fucking bollocks. We know that they're all fake, and I always laugh, as I say, about the guy who had the full plan in the last series on the shakedown. Still my favourite moment. I've mentioned it every episode recently. I love it. And I think what Cassidy's doing is she's telling everybody what every other contestant is thinking. But if you want to stay in the show, it's not the way to do it. However, the fact that she jumped all over Clayton and he's like, let's do it by the pool, which I'm thinking, well, they've obviously put him by the pool, legs in the water, 1, 2, 3, action, go. And then they pan out. And I love the fact that Cassidy was like, such a fan. I'm going to be doing this. Not even that Hilary Duff was like, I don't think they're going to last very long. But I know I've talked for ages, Dave, but I just thought it was brilliant TV. But I'm questioning whether she's a plant, as in one of the other contestants later. But you need this to sustain that like viewership because, like you said, it dropped over the last series, The Bachelorette. So I hope that this brings people up and we get this sort of drama every episode.
Now, I think the girl last week was a plant. I think it was ridiculous to go around the mansion telling all the girls that you hate The Bachelor. It's not a good winning tactic, that, is it? I don't think she is a plant. I think she's someone who's gone in with a game plan. She's definitely playing up being the villain, but I think she thinks she's a bit smarter than she actually is. I think she's thought that if she plays this villain game, she can get quite far, get into the last few, and maybe make it onto the Bachelor in Paradise show. But the problem is they all come in with the same or similar game plans, don't they? They've all worked it out. Since they've been cast, they've been thinking, how am I going to approach this? And, they're executing on that plan. But the problem is, if you call it out for what it is, if you verbalize it, that's the mistake, isn't it? Yeah. Because everyone knows it's like, oh, you've thought about being the next Bachelorette. How that is outrageous. None of us, girls, have any of you ever thought about being the next Bachelorette? Despite the fact that's exactly what this show does every fucking season. They'll pick someone out of the running, and then they'll make them the next Bachelor or Bachelorette. But oh my God, how dare you even consider that for a second as a possibility? I think Cassidy's big mistake here is she's gone balls out. She's like, fuck the rest of this game, and I'm going for it. Whereas some of the other girls, when the kind of doors open into the garden and you can see all these screaming kids, Chris. I mean, God, you and I are both parents, but come on. You fucking open the doors there. You got screaming kids like high on sugar. And you're not thinking, oh my God, I love kids. Oh, this is so great. Yeah. Like, I thought we were going on a fucking helicopter or something. So, the rest of them are approaching it in a different way. They know that they had the whole bloody fake letters at the end of Clayton's episode, which got him, into The Bachelor. So that's going to be part of his theme for this season, isn't it? It's his kind of journey to parenthood, which I don't buy for a single fucking second, to be honest.
Me neither.
But that's going to be part of the theme, the DNA of this season. So, the other girls are like, we've got to play by the rules. It's outrageous that Cassidy's doing this and she's winding the rest of them up. And Chris, I'm here for it. I just thought it was brilliant. And all the other girls fucking hated her. But then she gets the rose.
But you know what, David? You're right. I'm with you. Because what annoys me is I wrote down straight away, here we go. Who's going to be the grass who pulls Clayton and says, I just need to tell you this, Clayton. Now, we didn't get that until the end, but that's what winds me up even more. Cassidy is horrible. She's obscene. Brilliant contestant for us as viewers because you're just like, oh my God, get that pantomime baddie off our screen. Every time she come on, you're like, ooh, his butt. If she's such a bad person, it'll all come out in the wash. And I hate the ones who then go and grass them up. I hate it on the men's series with Michelle. I need to tell you something. The thing is with Clayton, right, Dave? So we get that incident. You're right. And, she's there basically, gets the rose. She drops the cake. That girl goes on as if she sat there, Mary Berry style, and made a fucking cake for 4 hours. You could tell it was going to fall over. It was too obvious she was going to drop it. She went, I've spent ages making that cake. And then later on, she went, it took me an hour. What? Of putting fucking hundreds and thousands on and a bit of piping. My mum was a cake maker for fucking years, Dave. I can fucking do that. It takes about 15 minutes, but she made it out like she'd nurtured the fucking recipe and cooked it in an oven. I was just like, they've given you a cake and gone, put me
she's
the
annoyed on. Because she's playing by the rules. She's adhering to the rules.
Exactly.
But the thing is, she's not watched previous seasons. That the rules don't count for fuck all, really. Like very occasionally, it means a bit of extra time with Clayton or something. But these games don't mean anything. So I can appreciate it, Chris. I'm a rule abider, so I would be there counting out my hundreds and thousands or whatever. But
who wouldn't?
I'm feeling fucking aggrieved that someone's off nailing the Bachelorette. So, but it's funny to watch it from the outside.
That's brilliant. I'm not saying I'll be nailing the Bachelorette, Dave. Obviously, not at my time of life. But if there's a rule to break, I'm the man. If there's a corner to cut, that is me. I've done that all my life. If there's a way to duck and dive and dodge in and do something and get somewhere.
That's why you don't like the snitches, isn't it?
Yeah, snitches get stitches. But no, it winds me up because I always think, well, fair play to Cassidy. If she's genuine, this is a hell of a fucking game she's playing. Like, she's really gone to one of the outsiders, because the other girls don't like it when somebody does something different. Whatever we think of Claire and Dale did the same thing with Claire, didn't it? They'd had a relationship. He was like, fuck that. He was hiding in the fucking cupboard while she's on dates. Like, oh, I thought this was the toilet. Bullshit. And then starts snogging her face off and stuff. It was all shit. So I'm with you. I'm all for breaking the Bachelor code, making it different, bringing it forward, making the show more progressive, as in just more dramatic. And I'm all for it. And I didn't think anybody would get worse than Cassidy, Dave. And then up steps Shanae. Oh my fucking days, was she unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's like a villain, a super villain team up, isn't it? Because Shanae seems to be a little bit quiet. She's obviously, it seems to be this thing with blonde people, Chris. They just flock together. We saw this on Love Island UK, didn't we? And they almost look like clones of each other. But Shanae seemed to be a little bit quieter. And then Cassidy's all cocksure and saying, I'll take you under my wing. You could be my apprentice, sort of thing. The fucking Sith rule of two, no doubt. And I don't recall seeing this before in any of the other seasons. When usually, if you've got a villain, you've just got them out there on their own. Whereas here, having them team up, having them work out strategy together, I thought, this is going to be interesting. But Shanae hadn't really done anything on the screen until, a little bit later on. So I didn't think she was, going to stand up to it. But she definitely did. She's definitely being as much, if not more, of a villain as Cassidy is. Because when they go into the group date, she's giving her the woe is me, and Cassidy would have done this. Cassidy would have gone right over and sat right next to Clayton and what have you. And almost feeling a bit sorry for herself. But when it turned was when she threw, funnily enough, the other blonde girl, Elizabeth, totally under the bus. Like, just with what seemed to me to be a bit of a lie. She was talking about her being two-faced and the fact that she'd blanked her completely, and Elizabeth saying, well, maybe, I do honestly suffer from a bit of ADHD, so it's possible I haven't intentionally blanked you, but my concentration was somewhere else. So if you did, wave over to me or something, I didn't notice it. But then Shanae she goes full fucking heel, doesn't she? And just announces it to the group. And honestly, Chris, I thought Shanae was worse than Cassidy with what she did here.
Yeah, and I'm with you, but like I was chomping for us to speak. I was like, Cassidy's getting it. And then when Shanae did that, I was like, that is a disgrace. Now, ADHD is not something to talk about, like laugh about or whatever. I know it's something that's only been recognized over the last few years, Dave, and it's right. And what annoyed me is she then starts going, I've got it. And then when Elizabeth, because what I put for Elizabeth looks like, I know you don't watch it, but Elizabeth looks exactly like Christine from Selling Sunset, Dave, who is the baddie of Selling Sunset. She is horrid, an absolute wicked person, but also great TV. You need that baddie. She's the worst person on that show. She's awful, honestly. But this Elizabeth looked just like her. So every time I watched it, I was like Christine. So at first I was like, oh, she's going to be a baddie. I didn't think Elizabeth did anything wrong. And like you say, Shanae just turned on her, tells all the girls she's got ADHD. Then she's laughing at the camera, which I thought was absolutely disgusting. And she's like, she's got ADHD, and then bursts out laughing. Denied she'd even said it to anybody when Elizabeth confronted her. Elizabeth's like, I don't understand what is going on. And then she starts crying. And then when her and Elizabeth had the chat, Shanae tried to make it about herself. I just put she's a fucking psycho and a dickhead. They were my two words, Dave. She's absolutely horrid. And I think the Cassidy stuff can get dealt with. We saw the VT. It'll get dealt with probably next week. But for me, Shanae cannot stay in this house longer. And look, judging by the VT, Dave, I think she's going to be there for a little bit longer. But what she did was a disgrace. It was just bullying. And all she said was, I'm not having her get one up on me. So what she thought is, let's fabricate a story about it's a class as a disability that she's got, Elizabeth, and let's play on it. And all the girls laid into it, didn't they, on that round circle table? They were like, I don't agree with it. I thought that was the worst thing of the episode. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. And look, I know we're only on the beginning of a journey of really understanding mental health. I think, it's only in recent years people have started to discuss it more openly, but it seems so fucking tone deaf for her to just make fun of it. And I couldn't help but feeling sorry for Elizabeth. I mean, it seemed to me that, it could go one or two ways, Elizabeth, sounds like I'm profiling here, but just the look of her, she's got the look like she could be a villain, but she did absolutely nothing wrong. And I just ended up feeling really sorry for her, because even when she's trying to just smooth things over, she says, come on, let's hug it out. And then Shanae's telling the group, oh, why would you tell me that you love me? And then, it's like, I didn't tell you love you, you fucking prick. She's just blatantly making stuff up. And I don't know, is she trying to manipulate the group? Surely by saying some of this shit, she must know. You say shit like that, they're going to use it. You know why? Because it's fucking gold. But, just... I don't know why she thinks that's a good plan, other than, like I say, maybe, if she can stick around a little bit longer, get rid of some of her immediate rivals, then, maybe she can get on Bachelor in Paradise. But yeah, I thought it was really distasteful. And yeah, Clayton, though, he hasn't got a fucking clue, has he? He doesn't know what to believe. But luckily, I thought for a moment he was going to give Shanae a rose, but then he gave it to the other girl, whose name I didn't write down.
No,
Sarah.
He might. I don't know myself. But I will say, David, I want to lay into Clayton a little bit. Why did he take Shanae's word as gold? She said someone's been two-faced. Someone, she laid into Elizabeth. And he's like, oh, I'm not having that. So he pulls Elizabeth, but it's like, this is what happened. I think it was Matt's season where he took it as gold when some shit stirrer came in and told him a story.
Do, don't they?
Yeah,
they all. The person coming with the news, whether it's truth or lie, it's immediately taken that they're telling the truth and they're being open and vulnerable, and brave for coming forward. No, she's got a massive fucking shit stirring spoon and just making up fucking lies. But then the victim, the person on the receiving end, is automatically on the defensive position. And I thought, to be fair, Elizabeth couldn't have played that any better. She just said, oh, well, maybe. She didn't try and say, no, I've not done anything. She just said, oh, well, I'm not aware of anything, but, I'll have a chat to her and stuff. But you're right. They just seem to, all of the leads just go, oh, right, I'll go and sort this out. Stop. Ask some other questions. Are they actually fucking telling the truth? Because if you've seen the show before, a lot of them fucking aren't, Clayton.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. And then I alluded to, we needed someone to tell Clayton, what's really going on. And we had obviously Shanae doing this nonsense we just talked about, but up steps Dave Sierra. Now, I would love to say that producers didn't lead her into this, but it looks so false. And she gets Clayton and says, one of the contestants has got a man on the side, and that contestant is Cassidy. And then he goes off. I'm like, oh, and it did want me thinking, bastard, I want next week's episode now, because he was like, well, he gets that Jesse guy, and he goes, he's like, you called me. What? You've walked on set in a full fucking suit. You were just sat there in your fucking apartment in a full fucking suit.
Just watching the football
just
in my full suit. Yeah,
in your full suit. I was just in my office. Bullshit. And he's like, what's up? And he went, has there ever been a case you can revoke the the rose? And then you see Cassidy for next episode going, well, he's given me the red rose, deal with it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to end. I still think Cassidy is going to go. But I'll tell you what, Dave, for action packness, this was the best one I've watched in a long time. This is going back to Claire and Dale levels of they're all a bunch of bastards, but I can't stop watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fucking great. And I was the same. It got to the end. And normally my feeling when these episodes finish, like, oh, thank fuck for that. Right. Okay. When can Chris and I talk about the episode? Whereas at this, I was like, you bastards. And it's not just waiting for next week. It's waiting for the week after, because they said it's 2 weeks from now. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. This genuinely hasn't happened before, I don't think. Maybe when Claire was around for the 3 episodes or whatever. But no, I was disappointed. But what do you think of, not only was Sierra coming with the news, but the producers properly fucking threw Cassidy under the bus by actually showing the footage. This wasn't just Sierra just, coming with some news, and us as the viewers are like, well, did she really say that? She might have done. It could be Sierra making up a bit of bullshit in this point. Nope. Producers tell us, here's the exact fucking conversation. And why Cassidy would be having this conversation out in the open when it's the first fucking week is beyond me. And that's what makes me think she thinks she's a bit cleverer than she really is. She's coming with a game plan, but you've got to have more discipline. If you're there for like fucking 6 weeks or something, and then a few weeks in you let something drop, all right, that's you can kind of appreciate that, can't you? You can't have your guard up all the time. But in the first week, I just thought that was schoolboy error.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I always think with these things, like you said, there's a wider career off this. If they're not going to get with Clayton, and I don't think, Dave, Cassidy and Shanae get to the end, that'll be unbelievable series. I think everyone's going to be going mad. I know we got that trailer pretty much telling us who the last 3 is, but it's going to be great TV, because you see Shanae on the VT giving him a kiss next week. She wraps her legs around him. Cassidy, I think we're going to see her gone in the first quarter. In 2 weeks, sorry. I think we're going to see Cassidy gone pretty much at the start, and it'll be let's get Shanae out next episode as well. But like you say, what's going on with him, Dave? Usually, I'm fucking dreading it, watching it. I'm like, you bastards, you bunch of bastards. I've got 2 weeks now to stew over this. And I'm sure we're going to get tea spill everywhere, Dave, because that's the only problem. Because it's filmed in advance, somebody always gets a bit of info, don't they, on what's actually going to happen. I don't want to hear it. For once, I want to stay out of it. I want to watch it for what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, it's great going on along for the ride without being spoiled. The thing is, though, Chris, getting back to Clayton and pulling in, not Carlton Palmer, what's his name? Jesse Palmer, yeah. Carlton Palmer's fucking footballer from the 90s, Jesse Palmer, when he gets him in his full suit. Clayton's done the same again, hasn't he? He's just heard this information, and rather than pulling fucking Cassidy for a chat, unless he did and they're just fucking with us with the editing. But it looks like he's just taken that information and, he's going to kick her off based on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. Look, it makes great TV, doesn't it, Dave? It really does. And he's like totally shocked. His acting's terrible. He's like, oh my God. It's like, because one of the girls who goes on a date, I don't know if it was Mira, goes on a date with, and I don't know whether you picked up on this. She goes on a date with Clayton, and she actually says, well, it's all part of my game plan. And she says it to the camera, but because she's not pissed anybody off and she's done it all nicey, them sort of comments go under the radar. And she's like, this is what I'm going to do to win him over and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, other people, lesser people have been kicked off, Bachelor and Bachelorette, for giving a game plan away. So she just said it in a very flippant way as they were walking towards the date, as they sat down and before they snogged. But I was like, well, she's sort of doing what Cassidy's doing, but she's not pissing everybody off. So it's quite clever the way they edit it, manipulate how the contestants manipulate. Like you say, as soon as you get the information on someone, it all bets are off. You're fucked. You basically need to go there as if you've got no history or you've never done anything wrong in your life. Because as soon as someone gets a sniff of it, you're fucked. A bit like being at work, isn't it, Dave? As soon as someone finds out a weakness in work, you know what people are like. If they can stand on top of you to get above you, they will do. And that's what they do in this show.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Not in work, he's not, Dave, but yeah, no,
not in work, not in work, but for our entertainment, it's great.
It's brilliant.
I mean, what do you think about what's the other girl's names? It's Susie. They had the whole helicopter date. Nothing really dramatic that kind of fell by the wayside, really. But I've got a feeling. And I can't remember. I do think Susie was in that, in the preview for the finale. But I mean, even with just that bit of chemistry there in the helicopter, you can see actually they seem to have something there. Yeah,
they do. To be fair, I think she's nice, and that's what they need, don't they? They need niceness, Dave. It sells it. It sells the dream at the end of it. If he ends up with Shanae or Cassidy, oh my God, they're a recipe for disaster, even for sponsors and things like that. Yeah, Susie's the sort that would go all the way. And I think you're right. I think she's got a chance because she's not pissing anybody off. She's just doing the I'm a nice girl. Let's just, see how it goes thing. Anybody who can sort of has controversy, they're gone. No matter whether it's that episode or one after, they are gone. Because all the others won't accept it. And it's sort of bullying in some respects, isn't it? It's sort of like, well, we don't like people who don't adhere to the way we think of things and approach things. So you're gone as well. So it's very strange how they do that. But it is what it is, I suppose.
It is what it is indeed. But roll on 2 weeks' time, because I need to know what happens next.
Well, Dave, massive, brilliant episode. But big thanks to everybody, as always, guys, for supporting us. And whatever you think, get onto Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. Get over there, we'll approve you. If you're on there already, tell me what you think of The Bachelor, because we think we both think it's been really good. If you want to follow us on social media, at CD Reality Cast. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And if you want to support us a little bit more, get over to Patreon, patreon.com/CD Reality Cast. So today's roll call of honor is Kent Gustafson, Lucky Lulu Green, Lawrence, Susan, Priscilla, Dee Dee, Katie, Libby, Helen, Joanna, Zoe, Amy, Noreen, Brianna, Helen, Keith, and Michelle. So thank you so much, guys, for supporting us. Me and Dave really appreciate it. So, Mr. Horrocks, it is game on, and I will see you in 2 weeks, unfortunately.
Charming.
I realised what I meant, but yeah.
No. Thanks to everyone out there for listening. Cheers, mate, and I'll speak to you next time.
Bye.